Hello, everyone, and welcome to Aquarian Radio at aquarianradio.com. I am your host, Janet Lesson, with my co-host, Dr. Sasha Lesson, and we have another episode of We the Anunnaki. Today we have a very special guest, Bob-Fletcher, and Bob Evans is another researcher that is going to join us to do some Q&A during the latter part of the show, but we're very excited about what Bob Fletcher's bringing to the table here. And his new DVD, Incoming Nibiru, is now available. His two DVDs cover connections between the missing billions of dollars, secrets of space programs, and future space-oriented disasters that are incoming, as well as the scientists, astronomical experts, historic proofs, amazing space information being kept from us all. All the backgrounds and updates include the potential date for its return to pass by Earth and what to expect. And we will see inside the underground hideouts built by the U.S. government and others with our money. All the gold is gone from Fort Knox. Billions, even trillions, have disappeared from defense and Federal Reserve funds to secretly fund and build these hideouts. And in this video, you can see how they build them, where they stole the money to build them, what to expect. And when the stuff hits the fan, who will survive the incoming return? The Nibiru cataclysm is a supposed disastrous encounter between the Earth and a large planetary object. It's either a collision or a near miss, in which certain groups believe will take place in the early 21st century, which is now. Believers in this doomsday event usually refer to this object as Planet X or Nibiru, and the idea is that a planet-sized object will collide with or pass by the Earth in the near future, and it is supported by some scientific evidence. And on this show, we're going to look at that evidence. And right now, I'm going to bring on live Bob. Aloha.
Hi. My pleasure. My pleasure to be here. We got.
Thank you for coming on this show. Wait, one thing I forgot. Dr. Lesson, before we bring on Bob, I screwed up. What would you like to say about today's show?
This is something that our listeners have been following for a long time. The issue of a nemesis or a binary with Solaris and the coming through of Nibiru and of the Lagrange points of Nibiru and other times like the disasters that preceded Moses fleeing from the Nile. So all this kind of stuff is just so totally what we really have to know about now, because the question is what's coming in and what is going to can we do about it, and what's going on?
Right. Well, and
so,
I was going to say, and my response to that, as a matter of fact, is that I do believe that the Planet X or Nibiru is on its way back in. It's already affecting our inner solar system profusely in many directions. In terms of the question of what can we do about it, unfortunately, I don't believe we can do very much about it. And interestingly enough, one of the heads of NASA, who of course strictly basically lie to us on a regular basis as to what may or may not be going on, but he said one honest thing a few months back when he spoke before the United States Congress, and that was when he was asked, what would we do if Earth saw that there was something coming from outer space that was in fact going to collide or be close by? And his response was, if we had a 60-day notice advance, because that was part of the question, if it was within 60 days, he said, pray. And that's the head of NASA. And I believe it was probably one of the few honest things he said in the last couple of years, because there literally will be nothing that people on Earth can do when this planet passes close.
Wow. Some of our
go ahead. You want to answer first?
Well, Bob Evans and others have been saying that the if part is that there are extraterrestrials who are helping us by deflecting and zapping crap that's coming in. And he's got these pictures from Soho, and that's what seems to be happening.
Well, you know, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I'm going to bring Bob in just a moment. I wanted to get, first of all, I want to bring him on just in case we have a hurricane headed this way, and you guys can carry the show on if we get booted off, because I've got it queued up that way. But I don't anticipate anything. It seems pretty calm. And I did want to interject before I hand the ball back to you, is, you know, Nibiru comes in every 3,600 years approximately, you know, give or take. And not every time it comes through, it does not necessarily do major harm. So what I'm wondering by your research is what makes you think that this time coming through, it's going to be a major cataclysm on the line of Noah's flood. Noah was about 13,500 years ago. And so we had another event during the, what do you call it, when, what was the second event, honey?
Exodus. Or you mean the day that the earth?
Right.
That's when it was night all 1 year. Yeah, Joshua was chasing these guys, and the earth stopped rotating, or appeared to stop rotating, and so it could go on killing for Jesus or for Yahweh.
So, Bob, I wanted to ask you what makes you think this time will be super disastrous, and, you know, maybe all this hype is just from our governments that they are, you know, they're wanting to create this on some level. And, Bob, I put you on live, but let Bob Evans, welcome. I put you on live, but let Bob Fletcher speak for a few minutes, and then we'll have you interject. Okay, back to you, Bob Fletcher.
Well, first off, the point of the what took place with this actually, there was nobody knew for sure. You know, it was more of a rumor and a this and a that about Planet X. You know, for generations actually, it had been written up 50, 60, 70 years ago, and periodically there was somebody that saw it or thought they saw it or had analyzed it, where it might be by its reaction to other planets and what have you in the very farther outskirts of the solar system. But at some point in time, approximately in 1983, was when Ronald Reagan was made aware during his presidency that apparently somebody came in one day, you know, a small group of scientists, and said, hey, it looks like that this is in fact a reality and it is coming back, and we have a calculated period of time of when to expect it back, et cetera, et cetera. And at that time, all sorts of things changed at the very highest level of our government. They started altering and changing the entire space programs. They did all of that. But the big deal was they created officially the continuity of government program. Actually, that was old, but it was expanded and put into a very serious mode. From their point of view, the people that are at the upper level in government and or what I refer to the secret government, who have been pursuing world government, one world government for so many years, many things changed. One thing, they stopped just stealing small amounts of money for themselves, and they realized that, from their view, that they had to go underground. The only way you potentially could survive this was to go underground, and in a big way. They created, by either building brand new ones, also by taking older existing facilities and expanding them, but they created over 103 underground facility locations. They took all of the gold out of Fort Knox to finance these. They have taken trillions out of many, many other, over a period of 10, 15, 20 years, trillions of dollars from a multitude of directions to also fund these underground facilities. They put they expanded the infrared telescopes, put a few more of them out into outer space. Part of what they were calling the Star Wars protective military system during Ronald Reagan's years. In fact, the bulk of that equipment, when they put it up, they said to watch and keep track of the entire Earth so they could locate and see nuclear launches and things like that instantaneously and be able to maybe shoot them down and all of that. But the fact was, the bulk of those new satellites and sensing equipment and what have you was aimed outward so that they could try to keep track of the potential movement and the incoming of Nibiru. Now, the big deal is that these guys, and by the way, this is worldwide, and it's a worldwide, it's rather cooperative action between all of the major nations, the leaders of the major nations of the world. The Russians have gone and built over 5,000 underground facilities, which they announced in 2010 and had accomplished what they planned to do by 2013. The Chinese already had thousands of underground facilities themselves because some of them go back to antiquity, but they expanded on those themselves as well, and they have 3,000 nuclear weapons of their own that they are maintaining in underground facilities, along with ships and aircraft. Now, and then there's many other things, like the International Seed Vault, that's a cooperative underground into the side of a mountain type of a huge refrigerated location that contains all of the seeds of the entire world, everything that they are going to need to replant the earth after the coming of this Nibiru. So what you put all that together, and by the way, that's only a small part of it, but you put all that together and you realize that these guys at the highest levels of our government, predominantly those that are corrupted, which unfortunately is predominantly our government, these guys are scared to death. They would not have interrupted all of their programs worldwide, ripping us off on a regular basis, and shift gears and make sure and spend all of that money into these facilities if they weren't really afraid of something. And so we've tracked the scheduling of the equipment. They filled these 103 underground locations. They completely filled them with their survival foods. They've and then I'm going to get off here. I'm going to let somebody else jump on in here if you wish. But those basic things are what I had discovered, and I originally started just looking for why and who was stealing the money, because that's what I have done for years. As I've been a federal witness, I've been involved with the Congress, the Senate, all sorts of inquiries, drug operations, murder, theft, fraud, and what have you, at the highest levels for many years. And then when I saw trillions of dollars with a T missing, then I realized there was something bigger than normal theft. So go ahead, whoever wanted to jump in now from this point. I'm shut up.
Okay, good. Thank you. Very good. Very good start. Robert Evans Jr. is online with us. Bob, would you like to add your 2 cents?
I'd like to say thank you and welcome to Bob Fletcher here. He's fantastic in the research he's been doing. Just listening to him, just have to sit back and just, whoa. A lot of what he said was also covered by Just Call Me Kit when she was on a radio show back in 2012, of which she's never been heard from since, where she was following the money also. All the contracts that the U.S. government was doing, pulling everything away from the 3 coastlines and building the 4 huge underground food facilities right in the middle of our country. I'm not sure if Bob knows about the ET intervention with all the massive space probes around our sun, though.
Yes, I do know about it. I don't know a lot of details.
Okay. Yeah, NASA's been recording them with their SOHO and a couple of their other satellites for over 7 years now, because there is an electric universe type thing. Our sun has put out like little wormhole type things out to each one of the planets, and the one that goes to our planet has been upping up our atmosphere and stuff. And
yes.
The interaction between Nemesis, which NASA imaged back in 2007 to 8, and its 7 planets, the interaction between those has been getting hyper and hyper and hyper.
That's correct. If I might respond for a second,
sure,
in the DVD that we now have finally available. And by the way, people can just go to my website, Bob-Fletcher-Investigations, and you can order that. It's profuse. It's rather tedious because it's 4 hours. It's a double disc, and it goes from way back to how, what, when, and why through every single related part to this phenomenon. But what I did discover, which is also included in it, is that all of the planets have been heating up. They have been changing in their chemical structure. That's probably mostly what you're talking about. And they're even, everything, even the orbits are, let's say, jiggling or wiggling a little bit on all of them. Of course, we know the sun has been acting up for a few years. Even recently, it's been discovered that the interior of the Earth, the nucleus of the center of the Earth, even now, has variations that are unusual. And this is, and all the dying, the dead animals, the fish, and all of those things, the birds dropping out of the sky by 1 million at a time, all around the globe. All of these things, in my opinion, are being affected directly by Nibiru already, even though it's still millions and millions of miles away.
Well, according to a 2009 leak from the NASA facilities out in, I'm not going to say where right now, they created a PowerPoint presentation showing the Nemesis system interacting with our system, and at that time, 2009, they projected to be 20 AUs away from entering it between Jupiter and Mars, and that was December 21st, 2012.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, and I was going to say, I was asked the other day about the relationship, the potential relationship with the Mayan calendar that everyone, of course, everybody was holding their breath back in December 2012 in an anticipation of something. And I'm pretty positive. My feeling is this, that I think Nibiru will pass close, potentially either this next April, May, that period of time. If not, then it will be a year away, or it could be 2 years away, that same time frame. And the analogy is, the analogy is that it will be first seen in December of the year, let's say first seen as a star, a new star headed inward, coming in when it is first somewhat visible by a lot of people on the globe. And then we have December, January, February, March, and then by April or May of that very following year is when the close pass would be. And I think what has taken place... Excuse me, say again.
What year?
Well, the potential can be first seen this December, and if so, then it will be January, February, March, and by April and May, the worst of it will be passing close by. If it does not happen this year, being first seen in December, then we probably have a reprise until the following December, another year away. So it's either going to be this Christmas period of time, first seen. If not, it will be another year off, but it should pass close